Ethan, wait, Lily said, grabbing my hand as we walked toward the gate. Her fingers were trembling, and I felt the weight of her panic. Are you sure about this? I have to do this, Lil, I said, trying to smile. 3 years, and then we'll have everything we need. A house, a car, no more struggles. I promise. She shook her head, tears brimming. But 3 years is a long time. And, Daniel, he barely knows you. He'll forget you. I crouched down, so I was eye level with our son. Hey, buddy, I whispered, brushing Daniel's cheek. He yawned in my face and snuggled into Lily's arms. Daddy will come back soon. I'll make sure of it. Lily's grip on my hand tightened. Ryan will take care of us, right? I nodded. Ryan's got this. He promised he'd help. You won't be alone. Ryan's voice rang out from behind us. You leaving me in charge? Huh? Don't worry, Ethan. I'll keep them alive. I laughed, but it felt hollow. I'm serious, Ryan. Keep an eye on them. Make sure Daniel eats, sleeps, everything. Lily, make sure he doesn't burn the house down. Ryan smirked. Yeah. Don't worry. I've got your back. Lily's eyes searched mine. Promise me you'll call. Every day. Don't let weeks pass without talking to us. I promise, I said, though my heart twisted. I knew calls could never replace being here. I'll call every night. You'll hear my voice, and Daniel will hear mine too. She stepped closer, pressing her forehead to mine. I'm scared. I know. I brushed her hair behind her ear. I'm scared too, but this is for us. For him. I nodded toward Daniel. I'm doing it so he can have more than we ever had. She held me tighter, and I felt her lips on my cheek. I love you, she whispered. I love you too, more than anything. Daniel stirred, letting out a tiny cry. Lily picked him up, rocking him. Come on, old man, say bye to Daddy. He blinked sleepily, reaching out a tiny hand. I took it. Bye, buddy. Daddy will be back. Ryan clapped my shoulder. Man, you better not be crying in front of us. You look weak. I chuckled. Don't push me, Ryan. I'm holding it together, mostly. The intercom announced the flight boarding. My stomach twisted into knots. I guess this is it, I said, letting go of Lily's hand reluctantly. Don't forget us, she said, her voice breaking. Never. In my life, I said. I pulled her close one last time, inhaling her scent. The warmth of her arms and the softness of Daniel in hers made my chest ache. Ryan stepped closer. Hey, remember, I'm only a call away. If anything happens, anything, just call me. Thanks, Ryan. Really? I forced a grin, though the knot in my chest refused to loosen. I walked toward the gate, turning once to look at them. Lily was holding Daniel close, tears streaming down her cheeks. Ryan leaned against the railing, arms crossed, pretending to be casual, but his eyes betrayed concern. I swallowed hard. I passed through the gate, scanning the crowds. Dubai. A new life. Money. Opportunities. Everything I had worked for was waiting, but leaving them behind felt like ripping a piece of my soul away. I took my seat on the plane and stared out the window as the engines roared to life. The ground moved away from me, but I felt as if I was falling, leaving the most important parts of my life behind. Lily's voice echoed in my mind. Promise me you'll call. I will, I whispered, gripping my phone in my pocket. I stared at Daniel's tiny face in my memory, imagining the smile he would give me when I returned. But a strange fear lingered in my chest, whispering that 3 years might be longer than I could bear and that I might not come back to the life I left behind. Ryan's words floated in my head too. I've got your back. I wanted to believe him completely, but the feeling that something could go wrong refused to leave me. The plane lifted off, and the city below shrank into a blur. I pressed my hand to the window, as if I could hold on to the life I was leaving behind. I'll be back, I said quietly. I promise I'll be back. And as the clouds swallowed the sun, I realized that no matter how much I promised, some things might never return the way they were. Ethan, you look exhausted, Mark said, leaning against the doorway of my tiny apartment. Again, I am, I admitted, rubbing my eyes. 12 hours today, and I still have reports to finish. Mark laughed softly. Told you, man. Sacrifice comes at a price. You wanted this, didn't you? I did, I said, forcing a smile. It's just, sometimes I wonder if it's worth it. Worth it, he echoed. Of course it's worth it. You're sending money home, building a life for your family. You can't expect it to be easy. I leaned back in my chair. I know, but I miss them. I miss Lily, Daniel, even Ryan. Mark shrugged. I get it, but think long term. You're doing this so they won't have to struggle. That's all that matters. I guess, I muttered, staring at the ceiling. I just wish they called more often. Some nights, Lily doesn't answer at all. You're overthinking, Mark said. People get busy. Don't let it eat you alive. I nodded, but the knot in my stomach didn't loosen. It's just, at first we talked every night. Lily would call before bed. Ryan would joke in the background. I felt like I was still there, you know? Mark leaned forward. And now I trailed off. Calls are shorter. Sometimes I leave messages she never responds to. And Ryan, he's still there, joking, helping, but I feel more distant than ever. Sounds like normal life. Mark said, you're away. Things change. You'll get used to it. I hope so, I whispered. But every night, I imagine them together. Ryan making Daniel laugh, Lily smiling at him. And I'm not there. Not all. You can't control everything, Mark reminded me. You're doing what you can. That's enough. I picked up my phone, scrolling through old photos. Lily holding Daniel, Ryan making a funny face. My chest tightened. I don't want to miss everything. I'm afraid that one day, they won't need me anymore. Mark rested a hand on my shoulder. Hey, you're their dad. They'll always need you. Don't let fear ruin your work. I looked at him, grateful but unconvinced. I hope you're right. I really do. Later that night, I called Lily, trying to push away the emptiness. Hey, you two. How's it going? Hi, Ethan, she said cheerfully. Daniel just ate dinner. Ryan's trying to teach him to say thank you. It's cute. Cute, huh? I forced a laugh. And you're okay? Yes, just busy with Daniel. He's so energetic lately. Good. I'm glad Ryan's there to help. Oh, he's amazing, she said softly, almost too softly. I don't know what I'd do without him. I froze. What do you mean? She laughed nervously. I mean, he's helpful, supportive. He makes things easier for me, right? I said, swallowing hard. I'm glad. After we hung up, I stared at the phone. Her words, the tone. Something felt off, but I shook it off. I'm tired, just imagining things. Mark called the next morning. You okay? You sound different on that call yesterday. I'm fine, I said quickly. Just stressed with work. Sure, he said, but don't ignore your instincts. If something feels wrong, don't bury it. I know. I admitted, but the guilt of doubting them gnawed at me. Days turned into weeks. I sent almost all my earnings home. Sometimes, I'd hear Lily's laughter in the background during a video call, Ryan teasing Daniel. I smiled at the screen, telling myself I was lucky. At least they had each other. But then came the nights when Lily didn't answer. When my messages went unread. When Ryan always answered first, joking, casual. Each time, the pit in my stomach grew. One night, I called again. No answer. I left a voice message. Lily, it's me. Call me when you can. I miss you. I miss Daniel. Hours later, Ryan picked up. Hey, Ethan. Sorry, Lily's asleep. Daniel's in bed too. Right, I said, forcing a calm tone. Thanks, Ryan. Make sure they eat okay tomorrow. No problem, man. Don't worry. You're doing a great job. I hung up and sank into my chair. My hands trembled slightly. Am I overreacting? Maybe I'm just tired. Mark knocked and entered. You look worse than yesterday. Spill it. I don't know, I said. I feel like I'm losing touch with them. Ryan's always there, and Lily, she's distant. I keep imagining things I shouldn't. Mark sighed. Ethan, you can't control them. You can only do your part. Work hard. Send money. Call when you can. That's all you can do. I know, I said, voice low. But it doesn't stop this feeling like I'm already too late. Then don't think about it. Focus on the dream. 3 years, man. That's it. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. 3 years, I whispered. For them, for us. But deep down, I couldn't shake the unease. The distance was more than miles. It was creeping into my life, into their lives, into everything I had built. And I feared what I might find when I returned. Ethan, you there? My mom's voice crackled through the phone. Hey, Mom. How are you? I asked, trying to sound normal. I'm fine, sweetheart. Just busy with, the usual. She chuckled lightly. How's everything over there? Work's brutal as always. But it's fine. I'm managing. I can imagine, she said softly. Then, after a pause, she added, Lily's keeping busy too. And Daniel, well, he's growing fast. I know, I said. I wish I could see him more. The video calls, sometimes they don't go through. Lily's always busy. Oh, she's busy? Mom asked casually. That's odd. Ryan's been over a lot, helping her out. He even stayed over last week to watch Daniel, while Lily ran errands. Ryan stayed over? I asked, my stomach tightening. Like, overnight? Mom's voice didn't change. Yes, dear. Why? It's not unusual. He's family. They spent a lot of time together. I suppose you didn't notice? I guess I just assumed. My voice trailed off. I thought everything was fine. Oh, Ethan, she said softly. I'm sure everything is fine. I just thought you should know Ryan's really stepped up. He's practically living at their place sometimes. I ran a hand over my face. Living there? Mom, does Lily's everything okay? She's fine. Don't worry so much. Mom said, her tone calm, almost too calm. I just thought you'd like to know he's helping a lot. You know, keeping them company, helping with Daniel. Of course. I muttered, trying to steady my voice. I appreciate that. Really. It's strange hearing it from you instead of them. Mom chuckled lightly. You're overthinking again, Ethan. Just trust your family. They're fine. I trust them, I said, but my chest felt tight. Sometimes I feel like I'm missing something. You're far away, honey. That's all, she said. You can't see everything. That's normal. I guess, I said, but doubt lingered. It's just, every time I call, Lily's always busy. Ryan answers first. And now you're saying he spent a lot of time with them. Mom's voice softened. Ethan, I know you're worried, but don't let fear twist things. You've done everything for them. You just have to trust that they know how much you love them. I do trust them, I said quickly. The feeling in my chest won't go away. Like something's off. Maybe it's just stress, she suggested. Work, being away. It's bound to get to you. Don't let it eat at you. I'm trying, I admitted. I really am. The next day, I called Lily. Hey, Lil, can we video chat tonight? Oh, Ethan, she hesitated. I'm not sure. Daniel's cranky, and I have a lot to do. Again, I asked, voice tight. Every night we try, and you always have an excuse. I know, she said quickly. I'm sorry. I promise, maybe tomorrow. I hope so, I muttered. I miss him. I miss you. We all miss you, she said softly. It's just hard sometimes. I sighed, hanging up. Another night gone. Another moment lost. I called Ryan instead. Hey, Ethan, he said cheerfully. What's up? I just wanted to see Daniel, I admitted. Can you put him on? He's sleeping, Ryan said. You're not missing much. Lily's in the kitchen, trying to get some things done. Maybe later. Later, I repeated, feeling the weight of the distance. You two seem close. Spending a lot of time together. Ryan laughed lightly. Yeah, well, I have to help. You know how it is. Little guy's a handful. I know, I said, forcing calm into my voice. It's hard being away. I worry I'm missing too much. You're doing your part, Ryan said. Just trust us. We got it covered. I do trust you, I said. But my chest tightened again. I can't shake the feeling something's wrong. Ryan's laugh was easy. Ethan, relax. Stop imagining problems that aren't there. We're fine. Lily's fine. Daniel's fine. Everything's fine. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But after Mom's words, after the nights Lily ignored my calls, after Ryan always answering first, doubt had taken root. I stared at my phone. The number for Lily, the number for Daniel. I wanted to dial again, to hear her voice, to hear him laugh. But I hesitated. My instincts screamed something I didn't want to admit. Maybe I'm imagining things, I whispered to myself. Maybe it's just the distance. But a small, cold part of me knew it wasn't just distance. Something was changing while I was gone. Something I couldn't control. Something that no promise, no call, no money could fix. And for the first time, I felt that trust one had clung to for years might have been misplaced. I parked the car and stared at the house. 3 years. 3 years of sacrifice, of lonely nights, of sending every paycheck home. And this is what I imagined I'd see. Lily running into my arms, Daniel yelling, "Daddy," with a big grin. I smiled, feeling my chest tighten with excitement. Okay, Ethan, I muttered to myself. Just a few steps, and everything's perfect. I opened the door and stepped onto the driveway. Daniel was playing with a ball, giggling. I called his name. Daniel. Hey, buddy. He looked up, saw me, and then my heart stopped. He ran past me, not toward me, but straight into Ryan's arms. Daddy, Daniel shouted. I froze. My blood ran cold. Ryan looked down at him, holding him tightly, and froze too. His eyes widened in shock. Ethan, Ryan said, his voice low, uncertain. I couldn't move. I'm home. I whisper, my throat dry. I came back early. Daniel squirmed in Ryan's arms, looking between us. Daddy, he yelled again. I stepped closer, my voice shaking. Daniel, it's me. Daddy's here. Ryan's grip tightened slightly. Ethan, wait. Wait. What is going on? I shouted, feeling anger and disbelief collide in my chest. Why are you holding him? Why is he calling you Daddy? Daniel frowned, confused. Daddy. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my shaking hands. Lily, I called. She stepped outside slowly, her face pale. Her eyes met mine, and I could see guilt written all over them. Ethan, I felt the world crumble beneath my feet. Lily, what is happening? My voice broke. She looked down, twisting her hands nervously. I can explain. I stepped forward, disbelief making my legs feel heavy. Explain? Explain what? That my son has been calling my brother Daddy while I was working myself to the bone for this family. Ryan opened his mouth. Ethan, don't. I snapped, cutting him off. Don't even start. I trusted you. I trusted both of you. Lily's voice quivered. Ethan, it wasn't supposed to happen like this. Not supposed to happen like this. I shouted, stepping closer. Do you have any idea what I went through these last 3 years? I left everything for you, for him, and you built a life without me. I was lonely, she admitted, tears in her eyes. You were gone all the time. Ryan, he was there. He helped. We what? I demanded, my voice rising. We what, Lily? Tell me. She shook her head, unable to speak. Daniel looked at me, his little face confused, torn between us. Daddy, you're back? He asked softly. Yes, buddy. I whisper, my heart breaking. Daddy's back, but he's calling someone else Daddy. Do you understand how that feels? Ryan stepped forward cautiously. Ethan, I didn't mean for it. Didn't mean for it? I shouted. You're supposed to be my brother, my blood, and you took my son, my family, while I was gone. You were supposed to protect them, not replace me. I didn't plan it, Ryan said, his voice low. It just happened. I helped because Lily needed me, and Daniel, he needed a father figure while you were away. You didn't. I echoed, my voice cracking. You didn't think you were crossing a line? You didn't think I'd come back? Lily stepped closer to Daniel, holding him protectively. Ethan, please. I never meant to hurt you. I was scared. I don't know what I was thinking. I felt alone. I shook my head, unable to speak. I wanted to scream, to shake them both, to demand answers I didn't want to hear. Daniel reached for me, and I dropped to my knees. Daniel, it's me. Daddy, look at me. He looked confused, glancing between me and Ryan. Daddy, he asked, unsure. I'm your real daddy, buddy. I said softly, my voice breaking. I'm back. I'm never leaving again. Do you understand? He blinked slowly, and I felt tears prick my eyes. I don't know, he whispered. Ryan's shoulders slumped. Ethan, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. I stood up slowly, trembling with anger and heartbreak. Sorry? Sorry doesn't undo 3 years of my life. Sorry doesn't bring back the nights I cried because I missed you all. Sorry doesn't fix what you've done. Lily stepped toward me, tears streaming down her face. Ethan, please, we can fix this. I still love you. Daniel still loves you. You're his father. I stared at her, at Ryan, at Daniel. Love, I whispered, my voice shaking. Do you even know what love is? Love doesn't abandon someone and replace them with another while they're gone. That's not love. That's betrayal. Daniel's small hand reached out, brushing mine. Daddy, I knelt again, holding his tiny hand. My heart ached, shattered, torn between fury and love. I'm here now, Daniel. I whispered. I'm never leaving again. But you need to understand, I trusted the people I loved most, and they betrayed me. Ryan lowered his head, silent. Lily's face crumpled. Daniel looked up at me, eyes wide, innocent. And in that moment, I realized the life I had left behind wasn't waiting for me. They had quietly built something without me, something I wasn't a part of. I stood, staring at them both, feeling my world collapse around me. This is not what I came home for, I said, voice low, trembling. And I don't know if I can ever forgive it. Lily's voice shook. Ethan, please. I didn't answer. I only stared, heart pounding, the man I had been abroad, the man who had sacrificed everything, meeting the painful truth of the family he thought he knew. I slammed the door behind me and turned to face them, my voice shaking. How long? Lily's hands trembled as she stepped forward. Ethan, I didn't mean for it to happen like this. I was lonely. You were gone all the time. I felt abandoned. Abandoned? I laughed bitterly, though it came out more like a strangled gasp. You think I abandoned you? I worked my ass off every day so you and Daniel could have a better life. I know, she cried, tears streaming down her cheeks. I know you did, Ethan. I needed someone there, someone who was present. And Ryan. I snapped, turning to my brother. You were supposed to protect them. You were supposed to be my brother, not take my place. Ryan ran a hand through his hair, looking guilty. Ethan, I never planned for this. Daniel needed a father figure while you were gone. I helped because he needed me. I never thought it would go this far. You never thought it would go this far? I repeated, my voice rising. You spent 3 years building a life with them without me. You replaced me while I sacrificed everything. Lily sobbed, her voice breaking. I didn't mean to replace you. I was just so scared and lonely. I didn't think. I loved you, Ethan. I still do. Love me? I asked, voice sharp. You call what you did love? You let someone else hold my son in my place while I was working day and night for this family? That's love. Daniel peeked around Lily, his small hand reaching toward me. Daddy. I knelt down, tried to steady my voice. Yes, buddy. It's me. Daddy. Don't be scared. He hesitated, looking at Ryan, then at me. Daddy. Yes, Daniel. Daddy's here, I said softly, fighting back tears. But I need you to understand, some things have happened while I was away. Things I can't just ignore. Lily's voice trembled. Ethan, I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I felt so alone, and Ryan was there. He was helping. I didn't know how to handle it. And you call that helping? I asked, standing abruptly. You call building a life behind my back helping? Do you have any idea how that feels? Every night, I imagine being here, and you were living this life without me. Ryan stepped closer, voice low. Ethan, I never wanted to hurt you. I helped because he needed someone. I never thought you'd feel replaced. Replaced? I shouted, my hands shaking. You think I don't know what that feels like? I trusted you both completely, and you turned my trust into betrayal. Lily's lips trembled as she whispered, I'm sorry, Ethan. I truly am. I felt so lost without you here. And Daniel, I asked, my voice barely above a growl. Did you ever think about how he would feel when I came back? Did you ever think about me? Ryan's shoulders slumped. I thought I was helping him. That's all. I didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't mean to? I repeated, voice cracking. 3 years, Ryan. 3 years of my life. 3 years of missing my son's first steps, first words. And you stepped into my role. Lily sobbed again. I know it was wrong. I see that now. I was scared of being alone. I thought I was doing what was best for Daniel. But I never wanted to hurt you. I can't believe this, I whispered, staggering back. I can't believe I trusted you both. I worked day and night to give you a better life. And you created a life without me. While I was gone, Daniel reached out again. Daddy, don't leave. I knelt down, holding him close. I'm not going anywhere, buddy. But you need to understand, this isn't normal. What they did, it's not normal. He hugged me tightly, and I felt tears streaming down my face. Rage, heartbreak, and love tangled together, making my chest ache. I stood up and looked at them both. I can't stay here tonight, I said, voice shaking. I need to think. I can't be in this house pretending everything's fine. Lily whispered, Ethan, please. I shook my head, unable to speak. The betrayal cut deeper than I had imagined. I grabbed my keys and walked out the door, not looking back. The night air hit me, cold and sharp. I wandered aimlessly, not caring where I went, just needing to escape. Eventually, I found myself outside a small diner, its neon sign flickering. The doors were locked, but I sat down on the curb anyway, letting the cool pavement press against my legs. "Ethan," a familiar voice called. I looked up to see Sarah, my childhood friend, approaching cautiously. "Sarah, I didn't expect. I came looking for you," she said softly, sitting beside me. "I saw your car outside. I figured something was wrong." I buried my face in my hands. "Sarah, it's worse than I imagined. I trusted them, and they replaced me. My own family. They replaced me while I was working myself to death for them." Sarah's hand touched my shoulder gently. Hey, calm down. Tell me what happened. Talk to me." I lifted my head, tears streaking my face. I came home, expecting everything to be normal. Daniel running to me, Lily smiling. Instead, Daniel ran to Ryan. He called him Daddy. Lily, she didn't stop it. They built a life without me while I was gone. 3 years. 3 years of my life, and they replaced me. Sarah nodded, listening intently, letting me pour out my pain. I don't know what to say, Ethan. That's awful. It feels unreal, I said, voice breaking. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if I even want to. Everything I sacrificed, everything I gave, and they just replaced me. Sarah pulled me into a hug. "You're not alone, Ethan. I'm here. I'll help you figure this out." I closed my eyes, letting her presence steady me, even as my world had crumbled. I don't know what comes next," I whispered. "But thank you for being here. I can't believe what they did." I muttered to Sarah as we sat on my small balcony, watching the streetlights flicker. I wanted to make them pay. I wanted Ryan to hurt like I hurt. Sarah shook her head, her eyes calm but firm. "Ethan, hurting them won't fix anything. It won't bring Daniel back to you. It won't rebuild your life. You can't live in that anger forever." "I don't know if I can let it go," I admitted. "Every time I close my eyes, I see them. Daniel running into Ryan's arms. Lily smiling at him like I didn't exist. "You can't change the past," she said gently. "But you can take control of the future. Focus on yourself, your goals. Reclaim what's yours." "I don't even know where to start," I whispered, gripping the edge of the railing. "Everything I built abroad, it doesn't feel like enough." "Use it," Sarah said. "You save money, right? You work so hard. That's your foundation. Start over. Start fresh." I leaned back, taking a deep breath. "Start fresh," I repeated. The idea both terrified and excited me. Maybe I can. I can open a small construction business. I know the work, I know the contacts. I can do this. "You can," Sarah said firmly. "And I'll help you however I can. You're not alone in this." The next morning, I met with a few old colleagues from back home. "I'm thinking of starting my own construction company," I told them, trying to keep my voice steady. "That's ambitious," said one of them, Mike, leaning against the truck. "You have the experience, Ethan. You'll make it work if you stay focused." "I plan to," I said, forcing a smile. "I just need to start rebuilding my life. Everything else, it can't matter right now." Over the next few weeks, I worked from dawn to dusk. I met clients, handled contracts, and hired a small team. Sarah checked in every day. "You're doing it," she said once, handing me coffee after a 12-hour day. "You're actually doing it. I see change already." "I feel like I'm clawing my way back," I admitted, wiping sweat from my brow. "Like I'm building something that's mine for the first time in years." "And you are," she said. "Don't let them make you feel small. Their betrayal doesn't define you. Your actions do." I nodded, feeling a spark of hope. For the first time since I returned, I wasn't thinking about Ryan or Lily or the betrayal. I was thinking about my plans, my future, my own strength. But even as I worked, I kept an ear on the neighborhood gossip. Whispers reached me, neighbors talking about Ryan and Lily. "I hear they're not getting along," someone said. "Rumor is Ryan's always tense and Lily's unhappy." I raised an eyebrow. "Really?" I asked Sarah when she came over that evening. "It seems so," she said. "Their smiles are forced. They're starting to crack under the guilt and pressure." Karma, maybe they built their happiness on something stolen. I felt a small satisfaction at that. I guess that's something, I admitted, though I pushed it down. I didn't want to celebrate someone else's pain. I wanted my life back, not revenge. Days turned into weeks, and my business slowly took off. I started earning more than I had abroad, and I finally felt a sense of control over my life. Every completed project, every happy client reminded me that I could stand on my own, that I didn't need to dwell on what I had lost. One evening, Sarah and I walked by the coal house. I didn't want to see them, but curiosity got the better of me. I noticed Ryan pacing in the yard while Lily watched silently, arms crossed. Their voices were low, but tension was clear. "I can't keep doing this," I heard Ryan say. I thought I was helping. I didn't mean for it to hurt him like this. "You made your choices," Lily replied softly, her voice tight. "We both did. You have to live with them now." I turned to Sarah, letting out a quiet breath. "They're finally facing the consequences of their actions," I said, voice low. "Their life isn't perfect anymore. Their happiness, it's crumbling." Sarah nodded. "But don't let it distract you. This is your life now. Focus on what's real, what's yours." "I am," I said. "For the first time in years, I feel like I'm moving forward. I can't go back, but I can rebuild." Weeks passed, and I poured myself into my work. Calls from clients, new contracts, and meetings filled my days. I even started teaching Daniel some things over video calls: math, drawing, reading, things Ryan hadn't thought of, things I wanted to share with my son. One night, after another long day, I sat with Sarah again. "I didn't think I'd feel this way so soon," I admitted. "I thought the anger would consume me, but it's fading. I'm starting to heal." "That's good," she said, smiling. "You're taking back your life, step by step. That's all anyone can do." I looked out the window at the city lights, feeling a strange calm for the first time in years. "I've lost a lot," I said softly, "but I'm starting to find myself again. That's worth more than revenge." Sarah leaned back, letting me sit in silence for a moment. "And you'll see, they can't take that from you. No matter what happens, your strength, your choices, that's yours." I nodded, closing my eyes. The weeks of pain, betrayal, and anger had been unbearable, but now I had direction. Now I had purpose. I was rising from the ruins of my life, and nothing, not Ryan, not Lily, not the past, could stop me. For the first time since coming home, I felt like I belonged in my own life again. The sun was high, and the office felt warmer than usual. I was signing a contract when I heard the knock on the door. "Ethan, can we talk?" Ryan's voice was cautious, strained. I looked up and froze. He looked different. His shoulders slumped, his eyes tired, like the weight of a year had crushed him. "Come in," I said, keeping my voice steady. He stepped inside slowly. I don't know where to start," he admitted, running a hand through his hair. "I guess I just wanted to see you, to say I'm sorry for everything." I leaned back in my chair, watching him. "You don't have to explain, Ryan. I know what you did. I've lived with it." He swallowed hard. "Every day, Ethan. Every single day, I regretted it. I kept thinking if I could go back, I would undo everything. I never meant to hurt Daniel or Lily or you." I studied his face. The shame, the exhaustion, the raw regret. It was written all over him. "And Lily?" I asked quietly. He shook his head. "She left. She realized she couldn't forgive me either. Everything we built, it's gone." I nodded slowly, feeling a strange calm. "I see," I said. "It sounds like life's already done its work." Ryan looked down, his voice barely above a whisper. I didn't think I thought you'd be angry forever." I admitted softly, "for a long time." But holding on to that anger, it didn't help me. It only hurt me. I realized revenge wasn't necessary. Life has a way of balancing things on its own. He looked up, a flicker of hope, or maybe disbelief, in his eyes. "You're not angry anymore?" I shook my head. "I'm not. I rebuilt my life. My business is growing. I see Daniel. I talk to him, and I've started to find peace." Ryan's lips trembled. I never deserved any of that. "I can't believe you let go." "I didn't let go for you," I said firmly. "I let go for me, for Daniel, for my own sanity. I can't change the past, but I can control what I do with my life now." He nodded slowly, swallowing hard. I, I wish I could have done things differently. I've spent every day regretting it. I know, I said quietly, and that's your burden to carry. Mine is different. Mine was rebuilding, and I did it. He exhaled, almost a sigh of relief. Thank you for listening. For not, I don't know, hating me completely. I don't hate you, I said. I moved forward, and you should too. Learn from it, live with it, but don't destroy yourself over it. Ryan nodded again, looking smaller somehow, broken in the best way possible. I'll try. He turned to leave, his steps slow, heavy. I watched him go, the door closing softly behind him. I stepped to the window, looking up at the clear sky. The wind brushed my face, warm and freeing. I took a deep breath. Sometimes, I whispered to myself, the strongest thing a man can do is just move forward. And for the first time in years, I felt it. The peace I'd fought so hard to reclaim. The betrayal, the pain, the heartbreak. They had shaped me, but they didn't define me. I had risen from it all. The future was mine, unbroken, untainted, and I was ready to live it.